Gun violence prevention is near and dear to my heart because I'm a fellow survivor. I lost my nephew. This is Pierre Paul Jean Paul Jr. on November 11th, 2008. I advocate in his name because we lost him as a family. He was a good kid. He was a family person, and he lost his life when he was 20. And unfortunately, he was shot and killed in his neighborhood. He went out just hanging out, and he saw a friend of his, a female friend. He invited her to go and get something to eat, and while he walked away, the perp, which is another young black male, came up behind him, shot him 10 times, and the one that killed him was the one that pierced his heart. Each person have their own way of dealing with the grief. And my way of dealing with the grief is I am going to advocate in his name. I carry him everywhere I go. Any interviews I do, I mention his name, I show his photo. I'm his advocate to show that his life wasn't lost for nothing. Then I became one of the original members of Moms Man Action New York City chapter. And ever since then, since 2012, we've been on a go, advocating, talking about our loss, going to Washington, D.C., talking to the politicians. Anything possible that could be done, I've done. And now fast forward to now, I'm the New York State and New York City Survivor Lead, which means that I work directly with survivors now. Our goal is stop the killings. Stop the young people, stop the felons, stop people who do not have a right to own a gun, bringing these guns into our various communities and shooting up our kids. And we're hoping by sharing our stories that people will just get the idea, like, you don't want to be in our shoes. You don't want to lose a loved one. You don't want to lose a kid. You don't want to lose a family member. It's tragic. Nothing is the same after that. When we say we don't want anyone else to die, that's exactly what we mean. We don't want anybody else to die. We don't have to live like this. We don't have to live with gun violence. We could actually do something about it. What I'd like to see happen is to bring in more young people into the conversation, to speak to them and find out what they're going through. Why do you feel the need to have a gun? Also, we need the legislators in place to stop these guns from coming in the community. I'm positive and I'm happy to see that there has been some legislation that's been implemented while I've been doing the work that's stopping the guns from coming in as frequently, but also conversations. A lot of people, we never used to have these conversations, especially the politicians. The politicians used to frown upon all these conversations because they felt that they will never win an office if they talk about gun violence. That's not true right now. You have politicians that's running on this issue of gun violence, and they're winning offices. There's been a lot of big, huge movements that happened because everybody came together that is either shift or moved and became less detrimental to our society as a whole. And I think gun violence is one of the things that we can move forward and work on to alleviate, to lessen. As far as personal, this, for me, is just being able to be a voice out there and having people just seeing me not only as a Black woman or a Black advocate, but a mother of sons who's out there saying, and also a survivor, who's out there saying that, look at me, like, you don't have to live that way. You could actually change your life. You could actually live a safer life. We could work together to make it happen.